right, all right. Well, hello, Pastor Julian here, and I'm grateful to have a special treat for you tonight. I know generally on tonight I'm doing my Bible studies on my Acts Pastor Julian sessions, but on tonight I kind of want to change it up a little bit, and I'm grateful to change it up. And every once in a while we're gonna change it up just a little bit, and have a special deal for you. On tonight, we're going to be presenting a little presentation, a session on how to monetize your website. And I have four guests on tonight, four panelists who are doing just that. They're finding strategies to where they can actually monetize their website, monetize their YouTube channel, just monetize their entire online presence. And as I've said before, this channel is for believers, those who believe in what we believe in the foundation of Jesus Christ. And I'm showing entrepreneurs or want to be or entrepreneurs how to do some things online that they may not have tried before. So that we're here to make sure that you are informed as to what you can do and some of the things that you should do. And it's really not as difficult as you may think it is or has been, or what people may have told you. And a lot of this, when we talk about tonight, we're going to be talking about specifically blogging and other online strategies. And tonight, I do want to share with you that basically, when it comes to blogging, it's really about sharing your journey. And so I have four bloggers on here. I have four online professionals on here who are going to share a little bit about their story. And we hope that you're blessed with this on tonight, that you can take this along with you, get started. If you already started, encourages a little bit more to move forward. Now, the panelists I have on here tonight have been online from different times. So we have some who have been on here quite a while. I have some who are just getting started. So I thought it was a great combination to have on tonight to kind of know everyone's journey, so that it can encourage you no matter where you are, that you can get started right now with what you're doing. So with that said, I want to welcome my guests on tonight, all my panelists on tonight, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about their online presence and what they're doing. And as we always say, ladies first. I'm going to start with my friend Erika Jones. We actually went to college together, and so glad to have her here on tonight. So I'm gonna start with Erika and ask Erika to go ahead and kind of give your website, share your journey a little bit, let us know kind of what you've been doing and how it's helped you so far.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. So, like you said, my name is Erika Jones, and I have a blog called My Simple Moments. I've been blogging for 2.5 years, and it really started off as therapy. It was just a space for me to be able to write what was on my mind and on my heart. And I really didn't have a plan. I didn't have any focus in terms of looking for an audience or wanting to monetize or, really anything. I just needed an outlet, and I had been wanting to do it. It took me a little while to get there. My sister, who's also my editor for my blog, is the one that pushed me and was like, if you don't push the button, I'm pushing the button. And so I did it so she wouldn't have to. But that pressure that she was applying was necessary. I wasn't gonna do it because I've been sitting on it for a long time. My website is just my name, ericamdjones.com, but that's where my blog lives, along with a lot of other things I've started to try. So it's just a nice open space where I can do what I feel comfortable doing and kind of tap into all of the other things that I have passion for or are interested in. So it's really been a great outlet, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go forward. So I appreciate being here.
Well, we're grateful for you to be here on tonight. I'm going to swing around to actually have my sister on here tonight, Aisha Petties. She's here, so I'm going to ask her to go ahead and kind of share a little bit about her blog and her journey.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. Um, I've been blogging for actually less than a year. Last year, just as Erica said, I just started out blogging as basically an outlet. Um, I am a lover of fashion, so I kind of went that route. It started out with just fashion and wanted to put my twist on things, my personality, adding my personality to it. And then also just being an outlet, dealing with things as a woman, and identifying those other obstacles and issues that other women were going through the same thing. And I just kind of wanted to be a light to them, and help anyone that I could possibly help along the way as well. In doing so, I found that it helped me, helping others and ministering to others helped me. So my blogging kind of went from just blogging over into using my talents that God has blessed me with, my craft, and then that turned into the Monet collection, which is just basically customized dresses, skirts, things, just customized fashion apparel for women. That is my target audience. I do cater to men as well and children, but women are my target audience. And my website is the New Me Monet Wix at and it's / the Monet collection.
Thank you so much for that, Aisha. I'm going to go ahead and swing around to Miss Vernetta Freeney. She's been doing it a little bit longer, but I'm pleased to have her on here because she is an award-winning blogger. So glad to have her here today.
Thank you for having me. Yes, my name is Vernetta Freeney, and I started blogging on Blogspot in 2009. So I've been doing this a while. I initially started it as a way to vent about my job. I was a kindergarten teacher at the time, and the blog was called Praying for Purpose. And so fast forward 11 years, and I am blogging about returning to church. I left the church for 15 years and I returned. And so I'm blogging about my faith and fighting injustice, exactly what I was blogging about 11 years ago. And so I have a long history within blogging on doing a lot of different things that you can check out at VernettaRFreeney.com to learn more, to keep my time short here.
All right. Well, thanks so much. And last but not least, we have Pastor Demetrius Wilson here, who's going to kind of share with us on tonight, kind of what his journey is so far. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks also for having me on. Glad to be a part of this session tonight. I am just beginning this whole journey as it relates to blogging and that sort of thing like that. We've been doing the work of ministry as it relates to the subject matter concerning fatherhood and so many different things along those lines for a little while now. The desire came specifically out of, first of all, my passion for fatherhood and the responsibility behind it, and just really looking at some of the statistics and the important factors that play into either the presence or the absence of the father, having had experience doing mentoring with younger people and connecting some of the dots and seeing how the absence of fatherhood and the need for at least there to be father figures in the lives of young people to help them to not necessarily go in a negative path or in a negative direction. And so just seeing the lack of different things that were available to men as fathers to really encourage them, to really strengthen them, to really build them, to really create a collective where the fathers can come and share together and strengthen one another and do the thing that's iron sharpens iron. So we're just beginning this journey, and our group is called Abba Care. Abba, of course, the Hebrew word for father, actually the ultimate word for father, and that word in the Hebrew actually means the strength of the house. And so our goal is to really strengthen the strength of the house so that they can in turn do fulfill the role and responsibility that they have to be good, strong fathers and we can carry that on from generation to generation. And so right now, the website is in development and the blog is in development. That blog is going to be called Team Dad Chronicles. And we're actually going to be building the website, abacare.com. But right now, you can go and find information about us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/abacare20. And so you can go in there and you'll be able to see some of the things that we have going on. And we're excited about this journey, this opportunity to see where it takes us.
Right. All right. Thank you, sir. And I have to say this, as you notice, we see, of course, we see more sisters, and then we brother, and so we know that is kind of a missing space when it comes to the brothers who are blogging and the fathers who are blogging. So there is a need and there's a space for it, and because sisters, they got it on lock. They're doing it. They have a hold on it, and they're moving forward and pushing it. But we do have a space for more brothers to get up and begin to share their story and tell, give encouragement and empowerment to those who may need it, who may not always admit it, but they do need it. They do need it. So again, like I said earlier, what I love about this and why I'm building this platform is for believers. And so I'm loving the fact that we have such a variety of interests and a variety of journeys in this, but it's all coming from a standpoint of belief. So you're sharing your journey as a believer as you're going through all these different things, sharing your experiences, sharing what you're doing, and how to actually help to solve problems. Because I believe for a believer, when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to business ownership, I believe that entrepreneurship is ministry. For a believer, it has to flow from you, and that's the reason why I wanted to share this. I have pastors who follow me. I have worship leaders who follow me. I have other believers who follow me, and I think that it's good for them to know that they can use their journey and not just have to worry about all the stresses of the usual work, but they have a word to share. They have a journey to share, a life to share, an experience to share that someone needs to hear about how they were able to solve the problems and their issues, and it may help encourage someone else. Now, what I'd like to know from y'all, and anybody can start off with this answer, what has been your response since you started your blog, since you started this? What has been your response from your friends, from your families, from other people that you may haven't ever met before? Can you share kind of what your experience, what your responses have been so far since how long you've been doing it? And anybody can start. Let me do this. Let me do a point of order here. So Erika, we'll go back to you and start with you. Kind of what has been your response since you've started your blogging?
So surprisingly, it's been really good. So I think initially, like I said, I didn't have a real plan. I wasn't looking for an audience or anything like that. It was just an outlet, but people started responding to it like, oh, that makes sense, or I identify with that, or I have a similar story. And so as I keep doing it and keep sharing it, because most of my content in the beginning was all about my kids and how they have transformed my thoughts. And so I've been sharing how they've been affecting our house. And, a lot of people can identify that from being a parent or having siblings. So a lot of that is more about them being able to identify with that. But now I cover a whole lot of topics. So it's not just about my kids, but it does, really go to show that people are paying attention and people are actually reading. They might not comment, like, or share, but they're reading it and they're taking things to heart. One post that I did earlier this year was about experiencing a loss, experiencing miscarriage. It's something I've never talked about publicly, aside from my inner circle and my family. Anybody else, they would not have known that. But I felt like sharing, and I had the most response from that post. People were calling me to say how they appreciated me sharing my story. And they had a similar story, but they just hadn't shared it with anyone. So, knowing that there are parts of my journey that are helpful to someone else, encouraging to someone else, definitely is a motivating factor. So it definitely is growing. And I'm glad to see that, that this work is not in vain, that it actually is meaning something to someone. So that's important to me.
That's good to hear. That's really good to hear. I'm swinging around to the Vernetta. Kind of tell us kind of what your responses have been so far.
Just like Erika, it's been positive. I think, well, because I taught writing for 10 years, so I'm very, very good with words. And I get a lot of response because I know how to touch on people's emotions when I want to evoke them. And so some people say it's more of like an act of bravery because I'm very transparent with some of the things that I've gone through. I've openly shared my story about depression. I've openly shared how I felt about being sabotaged from an organization I started. Just things that people silently go through, and they're not sure if anyone else will relate or if someone will have something negative to say. And so I use my blog as a way for me to be able to share my story with people and let them know that, hey, it happens. This is how I dealt with it. Maybe not in the best way, but this is how I dealt with it. And maybe, here's some tips or steps to help you work through it as well. I usually, if it's something controversial, I'll try to bring in like a therapist or, someone in that space to give me some type of feedback to provide to people who are in need. So just like Erika, is really just being able to be vulnerable and transparent, and people respond very, very openly to that.
And that may be a struggle for a lot of people, trying to get through the vulnerability of it. Say I'm going to share this, but I think that, again, that's where the ministry comes in, saying I have to be vulnerable enough to share this, share my story, share my my obstacles and how I've overcome some things, so it can help somebody else. And that's the reason why I really am pushing this, because, like I said, everyone doesn't get a chance to get up into the pulpit and preach. Everyone doesn't get in front of the platform all the time, but you have a story to share. You have a testimony to share, and it's a great way to do it because, again, you just never know who may need to hear your story from that. So, Pastor or Aisha, do y'all want to share your experience? I know y'all haven't been doing it as long, but for the length of time you have been doing, have you had any responses so far?
Well, I can say that I've had some positive response so far as we've been approaching to do this, mainly to your point earlier of the fact that there is such a lack of it on the side of us men. My sisters are it's a little bit more easier for them to be open and transparent and stuff like that. But for men, it's just not as easy. And so I can probably say that that's probably one of the things that lends to why there is such a lack of these things happening. But as I begin to share, because where we're sharing from, we're not sharing from a place of perfection. As a matter of fact, one of the series that we're in right now on the YouTube channel is called Present, Not Perfect. And we're trying to encourage dads to understand that, the goal is not to be perfect. Perfect is a myth. What we really want to do is be persistent, want to continue to grow, want to continue to develop as a person, as a man. And then we can actually just share in our successes and in our failures together. And so that ability to be transparent, to kind of be open, to say, where we've kind of missed it, where we've kind of fallen short, and where we actually need to come up, really just kind of work on it. But to be open and just to start the conversation, this is where I've had a lot of positive response that the conversation has started, that we begin to open up and we begin to talk about how important the role is of dad, how important it is for him to be present in the life of his children. What are the end results of the presence of dad? And it's been a lot of positive response, not just from men. There's been a lot of positive response from the sisters who have just been saying, wow, who recognize, man, we need this, like we need more of this. And it's been very, very encouraging to continue on.
That's good. That's good. Go ahead, Aisha.
I've had a lot of the response has been very, very positive. Family and friends, to be honest, I was very, very fearful when I began, not knowing, because you think about, there's so many other people out there doing the same thing that you're doing, and you just wondering, well, are they going to be that supportive when it comes to me, or how well would I do? Just the fear of losing money, the fear of how people will receive you. But yeah, the response has been great.
Yeah, and I want to go back to a point that Pastor made earlier about being present, not having to be perfect. And I think that I think a lot of times we have this monkey on our back that thinks that everything we have to do has to be perfect all the time. But I'm finding out that what's stronger than perfection is actually connection. And if we can just get connected and stay connected, like I say, present, sometimes that outweighs always being perfect, because like I say, we're not going to be perfect. And so, but we can be present and we can be connected inside of that while we're present. So I think that is actually more important, I would say. Now, I do want to wrap around to this because we are talking about monetizing the blog. And so we're talking about, of course, we're talking about the journeys. And so we're talking about also monetizing the blog and monetizing your website presence. And I would like to know, when it comes to monetizing, what type of products have you start selling or have sold, or services that you've sold that so far that you have kind of gotten some leeway with, or been able to be somewhat successful with using your online presence? Aisha, you want to start with that question?
Sure. I offer, now that I finally was able to pinpoint, where I wanted to start, I offer, like I said earlier, customized apparel, mainly dresses, skirts. Growing up, Kojic, that's we grew up in our skirts and our dresses, and sometimes they just weren't too fashionable, But I love me a good skirt, and I love me a good dress, especially a black one. So once I finally narrowed it down, that's my focal point. I do custom, like I said, custom dresses, custom skirts, other things I'm getting into, just custom apparel, and then also accessories. And I've been doing very well. Like I said, I was really surprised of the support that I have been getting, but it's really been overwhelming, and I thank God.
Okay. I'm just opening up. Anyone can share on this question. Can kind of give us some insight on what type of products or services that you've been selling or want to sell, expect to sell, or whatever that you may have already had some success with, and what you intend to have success with in the future. So I can open it up, and anyone can share at this time and kind of let us know kind of where you are with that.
I've probably sold more things than I could have ever imagined related to a blog. Usually when I talk to people about making money as a blogger, they think is posting for a brand or, posting on Instagram or something like that. There's countless ways that you can make blogger. Aisha, right? You're sewing clothes. Like, some people don't realize that can be related to blogging. I know a few people who have fashion blogs who actually do sew, and they, created their own clothing lines later on. So it definitely could be a launch pad for anyone. I've sold journals. I've, promoted events. I've worked with people with their digital marketing. I've done consulting. I've hosted events. I mean, there's just an array, but I was an event blogger for a long time. So a lot of what I did wrapped around events, especially being in Houston. And at the time I was running a blog association, a lot of PR companies would reach out when they would have like their celebrity client coming and ask if I can, have some bloggers there for their event or whatever the case. So it's just countless ways. And I don't want anyone to feel that they need to box themselves into, I have to do it this way. And if they don't make money, then they feel like they didn't succeed with it. It just may not have worked for you, but there may be something else you can do that's a better fit.
Yeah, I think that as an important thing to talk about too. And Erika, you can go ahead. I'm gonna come back to what I'm about to say. Go ahead, Erika.
Okay. So for me, the first 2 years, I didn't monetize at all. Again, no plan, just writing. So it wasn't until actually this year, since we've been in the pandemic, where I've had more time to dedicate and focus on it because I didn't have a place to go, right? So you're trapped. That thing that you've been putting off, you can do it now. You don't have any excuses. So that was it. It was really time to refocus, think about actually come up with a plan. What do you want to do? Where do you want to see this going? The writing is no problem. It's the easy thing for me to do, but what do I want to build towards? What kind of brand do I want to have for myself? So I started working with a social media consultant who has been helping me to be more specific about targeting my posts and making sure that I'm putting it out there more than one time. I can't just put it out there once and think that people are seeing it. Most people aren't seeing it the first go around. It's the second or the third time they're like, oh, I didn't even know that was out there. Mm-hmm. So she's helping me to refocus and reframe how I'm viewing what I'm putting out there. I didn't realize hashtags was such a thing. Like, it's a whole world out there in terms of hashtags. Had no clue what. I was like, who, what? So just learning the basics, someone might just call it the basics, but for me, I had no idea what that kind of looked like. So getting used to using those and using it for research and trying to figure out, well, where are the other bloggers hanging out? What kind of tags are they using? What kind of things are they selling? Like, I'm following people trying to see where they're going and who you like. I like them too. It's just really trying to figure out what is out there more than just what I was using it for, which was not in terms of trying to get to the monetization. So for this year, I've been contacted several times to do like advertisements within the post. So, and I get paid per post that I can do that for. So I've done that a few times. I've also decided to add some of the things I'm more crafty with to the blog and actually open a shop. So I just opened it this week. And one of the things that I actually really love doing, and I wish it was something nice and simple like clothes and journals, but it's a little different. I actually am in love with Elf on the Shelf, and it's something that my kids have gotten used to for the last 8 years that I've been doing it. But my elf is very exotic. He does all kinds of things. You might find him anywhere. And when I just was posting it on Facebook, hey, y'all check out what the elf is doing today. Brave reviews like, oh my God, that's so cute, or oh, how'd you do that, or oh, I need to be like you, oh, I don't have time. And so I know these people who are saying these things, and I'm like, girl, you could do this. So I'm coaching them through their own elf journey, as you might want to call it. But I decided this year to actually help in a different way. And so I will be basically boxing up these elf ideas, and you can buy, and I call it Elfing on a Budget, where you can do has 15 days worth of elf magic in a box for 15 minutes or less. It won't take you long to do it at all. But I will actually be selling these kits so people can bring that Christmas magic to their home and won't have to think about it. Won't have to put forth all this energy they think it takes, because it really doesn't. But that'll be my first official product that is mine that I'll sell, and we'll see how it goes.
Can I piggyback off of Erika? Because I think that idea is really cute.
Sure.
I don't think people understand that blogging can be a business. Like, I got my LLC a few months after I started. I went through the Prairie View Cooperative Education Program. So it's a free program, and they teach you about how to run a business. And so I filed for my LLC. And another thing I learned through that program was about Hub certification. So my blog at the time, Women Are Game Changers, was actually Hub certified and could work with the state of Texas. So that is another avenue as far
That's cool.
as
Okay.
Monetizing your blog. So these crafty people that I'm in between, here on the screen, you could possibly sell your products or services to the state, depending on what it is. Like foster care is a state agency, so the kids may need some type of craft like that, and government can't go to Home Depot or Office Depot or Target for anything. They have to go through vendors. So when you're certified, you become a vendor that the state could work with. So that is something that I've tried for years to get people to understand. And then when the pandemic hit, guess what the state kept doing? Buying stuff. But it also puts you, it makes you eligible for federal grants as well, like small business grants and stuff like that. So there's a whole world of making money that does not involve you posting on your blog or posting on Instagram when it comes to making money.
Awesome. That's it. This is what we need. This is what we need to hear.
Yeah.
This is definitely what we need to hear, because a lot of people don't know this, and a lot of us, we don't know this, and because we have been so conditioned to go do the 8 to 5, and do that. But there are other options. And I was talking to a friend of mine, Philip Dunn. I think he's watching. He's commented about this, and I said that I really wish that we would get to the point to where we realize that it's not just the job that needs that we need. The job needs us. Those who are hiring us, they need us. They need our expertise. They need our experience. They need our knowledge. And if we can really see our value in what we have already, we realize we can go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Go anywhere. Your knowledge, your skills are transferable. They're not confined to one place. And that's what I like about the internet is that you can share this knowledge. You can share this information. You can share your services and your gifts and your talents all over the place. But I do want to say this, because y'all both mentioned this about kind of getting in a place to where you kind of know what your niche is. It's good to kind of know exactly what you want to talk about, what you want to share. And I think sometimes it takes time to find your voice, find your niche, and that's fine. You might hop around a little bit. You might go around a little bit trying to figure it out, but that's fine. But what the thing is, though, is to keep moving forward, like the snowball effect. It starts real small, but to keep rolling and pretty soon it gets so large it takes a mind of its own. So I'm pushing this because I want people to see this option out there, and like I said, it's not difficult, it's not hard. The main thing is you finding your niche and is being consistent with what you're doing, being dedicated and consistent to what you're doing with this. And with that said, I want to ask this question to y'all, and y'all can start whoever again. Open this up. I want to know what are you using to drive traffic to your blog, and also how often are you posting? How often are you sharing? How often are you doing videos? How often are you writing your post up? So let me know kind of what your traffic is, how you're driving traffic, and how often are you doing this? So it's for anyone. Anyone can share.
I use social media. Facebook was, or it still is, my biggest source, but I've deleted my personal Facebook page because I just felt it was getting too much. People were doing the most on Facebook. And so I've kept the business page, but Facebook still brings me a lot of traffic. And so pre-COVID, I was always out at events. So I would talk to people about my blog. I would go to like chamber events. I would go to business events, like not blog related events, and let people know I have a blog. If I was traveling to go speak somewhere at the airport or bus station or wherever I am, I would tell people about my blog. So I talked about it constantly to the point where people were like, I'm gonna just sign up, for your newsletter or your blog, or I'm gonna check it out, because I talked about it all the time. So online, I post there, but pre-COVID, anytime I was out and about, I may be an introvert, but when it comes to my blog, you're gonna know I have one, and you're gonna know what I have on there.
Go ahead, Aisha.
Oh, I agree. I would agree with Vernetta. Social media has been my my avenue as well. Mainly Instagram. Instagram has really been my biggest outlet lately. And also, I'd also want to say, Vernetta, you really helped me. The information that you gave really helped me. And I say that because I am a adoptee. I adopted my son at the age of 2 months, and so now that I've been, I found my niche and got into my thing. He's, Mom, I want to make money. I want a business. I want to make my own little money. Of course, it was funny to me at first, but he kept saying it, and a light bulb came on. And that's the avenue I've kind of been going toward, wanting to give back as far as the fostering and adoption, from the fostering and adoption aspect, but not knowing how to. So you definitely helped me with that. Thank you.
Yeah, I actually know someone. I don't think the blog is still going. It was a blog and a podcast, but it was two ladies who talked about their adoption and fostering stories. They were both had adopted and or were foster moms, and so they shared the process and just things that people would know. And so most times when people think of a blog, they think of entertainment, fashion, gossip, just fun, lighthearted stuff. But there's a lot of niche blogs out there that give so much information on topics that people want to know, but they don't know where to go. And so it really is something that people just crave. And so if you feel compelled to share on that topic, I'm sure there are people who are searching or waiting for you to put that information out, because they don't know where else to look, especially about foster care. I mean, that is just a topic that's not really talked about positively, or information that's given freely. And so it would definitely be something that some people would, seek out.
Right. It seems I get a lot of messaging from women who, a lot of people have the perception is that most of the time when you're adopting, it's a husband and a wife, it's a couple that are adopting. But then there are a lot of single parents who want to adopt, but they don't feel comfortable. They don't feel comfortable, or they're just not able. And so I do get those inquiries, a lot of inquiries. If I post something in regards to it, they'll message me about it, because sometimes a lot of people don't, some people don't feel comfortable with talking about it openly, as you said. So that's something I really I've been compelled to.
Yeah, I mean, one thing someone told me is if more than one person is asking you about the same thing, then it may be something that you should put out there, because there's obviously a reason that many people are going to you about said topic. So, it doesn't have to become your main thing, but it could definitely be something that you could, touch on and share about.
We call that content. That's content. Go ahead, Erika.
And just to piggyback on that, I totally agree. And everything that you just said about that is absolutely true. Because people used to call and ask me like how I was handling co-parenting in a co-parenting space. How was I raising a teen and a kindergartner? Like there are people who want to know how you're living your life because you make it look easy. On the outside, this highlight reel that they see on social media, or even if they're close to you, they still might not know the ins and outs. But when you are able to share with them just a sample of your day, like, no, y'all think this is, no, it's not. Whatever y'all thought it was, erase that. It's not that. I'm going to show you what this is and what this looks like. And prime example, and I hope you do share your story about adopting, because she's right. Somebody's waiting for you to share that with them. Prime example, I have 3 kids, but 2 of my kids have sickle cell disease. And it's something that I've made it a point, especially in September, since it's Sickle Cell Awareness Month, to dedicate space and time on my blog to talk about their stories. Every time we go to a hospital visit, I make a whole thing about it because I want people to understand, you know, we still have to be seen. Even in a pandemic, these appointments still stand because their disease is still there. It hasn't changed. And I can't take a break on making sure that their health is number one just because the world is shut down. How do we manage that in this space? How do I help give comfort to my 14-year-old about having this disease where a normal germ would be a problem, but now we have to take extra care and caution for this germ that is killing people? What do you do? What kind of conversations can I have? Like somebody else is waiting for me to share that conversation we just had because they need to have that conversation themselves. The biggest part about the blog thing is getting over our fear to still maintain that transparency that's so important, right? We want to be vulnerable to be on the blog and to say what we want to say, and it's our space and blah, blah, blah. But I still hesitate every time I hit submit. I still pause every time I get ready to do it, and not for any other reason than what I've been telling myself about it. Ooh, who's gonna read? Ooh, is it? Ooh. Like I still do that. I still do that even to this day, even though I know somebody's waiting for me to share this story. And it's important that I do that. It's part of my purpose. It's part of why I have this. Right. And I have to honor that. But it's still, there's still like a and it happens every time. But we have to push through those moments to get to the other side of that, because that's where the next level is, right? So right. it's just a process that I think we all go through on some level. But I don't hesitate to share different types of things on my blog only because somebody else is looking for it, and I hope that they find it from me.
Yep. Can I make a quick statement? Is it Pastor Demetrius? He's mentioning, that he blogs about fatherhood and the Teen Dad Chronicles. I know, I don't know if you're in Houston, but there is another male blogger. There's actually several Black male bloggers who blog about fatherhood. Mocha Dad is probably the most well-known. Fred has been blogging longer than I have. But I think once you get into the blog world, like if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic and we could actually meet each other in person, you would be able to meet other Black male bloggers. They're just not as active online as women are. We're everywhere. We like to post and share and all of this stuff, but they attend all the conferences. They like show up to the in-person events and socialize there. They just may not be as active. So yeah, there's quite a few here in Houston. If you're in Houston, there's quite a few Black male dad bloggers, specifically dad bloggers in the area.
Awesome. Go ahead, Pastor.
That's real good to know. That's real good to know. And by the way, just the things that you ladies are sharing here is so impactful. and so powerful, especially it's encouraging to hear how necessary, being open, being vulnerable, being honest and telling the story, because I'm 100% sure, and I'm saying because, as you said, when people keep asking you about the same thing, over and over and over again, I often have had, dads to really come and talk to me because they watch the interaction, between me and my children, and, they're not going to be open and public about it. And I'm very much, Vernetta, like yourself, I'm very much of introverted, very, very private, but it gives sort of a space to actually be able to open up and talk about, the very first thing, because I had a person ask me this question, said, how did you feel the very first time you held your first child? And so, that's one of the things that I'm talking about. When I held my first son, I played daddy for a little bit because I had, like 3 godchildren before I got married, and they had children of my own. But it was something about holding that child in my hand for the first time, realizing this is not going to be the child that I'm going to be able to rock and have fun with and then send back to mom and dad. He's going to call me dad for the rest of his life. I'm going to have to feed him. I'm going to have to clothe him. I'm going to have to put a roof over his head. And so they asked me, well, how did you feel about that? And I said, of course, I was glad to have a son, but I actually, if I could just put it in one word, I felt vulnerable, because all of a sudden I realized that there was no manual and I didn't know how to do this. And so I literally looked up to God. I mean, with tears in my eyes, I was like, Lord, you're going to have to teach me how to do this. Because, some of the examples of whatever that we had before, we realized they did the best they could. But again, there's no like manual per se. They don't hand you a manual at the hospital and say, okay, here is how it's going to work to be a father. Here's how it's going to work to be a mother. You don't get that. So I felt that vulnerability, and just to be able to share that was very, very freeing, for myself. So I'm really looking forward, to getting into that and actually being open and vulnerable, because I'm 100% sure that there are men out there who need that vulnerability to be able to hear the fact that there are dads who are doing it every day, who are waking up every day, who are doing this job, and they are not perfect, but they are present.
All right.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Sorry, I talk a lot.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
One thing I would say is boundaries. Like, know what you're willing to share and what you're not. Like, people know I have 3 nephews. They've gone to blog events with me, but I don't blog about them a lot on the blog. They're not posted a lot on social media until it's National Auntie's Day. Then that's my day, But like my personal life is not shared a lot in my blog. My story is, but not my family, unless I ask them. Like, I wrote an article for another website, and I asked my sister if I could share her birth story, because it involved me, and I needed it to substantiate the claim that Black women die at a higher rate when they're giving birth. And so, but it wasn't my story to tell. So I had to ask permission. So those things, like when you're worried about what you should post, or, what's going to drive traffic or something like that, have boundaries, yeah, it may cause you not to have as much traffic as, say, someone who spills everything. But at the end of the day, once you push publish, somebody can screenshot that and it's there. So you have to be comfortable with what you're posting online. I've deleted blog posts, but it's not because someone told me to. It's because I've grown, and I don't want people to read that who meet me now and get confused, because people comprehension skills are not all there if I'm putting it as nice as possible. So I make it where my boundary is, when I've grown to a certain level, then I delete things that no longer match this, and I'll write a new blog post explaining why I deleted it, in case someone's like, well, you had this. This is why I deleted it, because this is where I am now. This is what I learned from that stage. So it's not just like I deleted it and it's no longer part of my life. It's I'm telling you why, but I don't want to confuse new people to me, if that makes sense. So just boundaries.
Yeah, that's good. That sounds real good. Because in this cancel culture that we live in, it don't always show a whole lot of grace. So it's good to have that mindset. Okay, so if I'm going to delete this post, I'm going to share why I did it and where I've grown from there to here. Because like I say, right now with this cancel culture, and I keep looking over because people are asking questions, so that's why I'm looking over. In this cancel culture that we live in, we don't have a lot of grace. So I'm grateful. That's good information right there. That's good to know. Yeah. Yep. So I would like to know just a couple more questions, two more questions really. I would like to know what kind of obstacles have you encountered? Have any of you encountered moving forward? Kind of hurdles that you have you had to go over? I know for me, even doing this video right now, I'm doing this and I'm also looking over, making sure my kids don't come and disturb what I'm doing. So I have that one obstacle because I have my son, he's 4, and he'll jump in the video quick. So I'd like to know what kind of obstacles have y'all experienced when doing your building your online presence?
I don't know what obstacle I haven't experienced. Try doing an online conference and your Wi-Fi goes out and you're the host of said conference. It came back up and everybody was still doing their own thing or whatever. But it's just what I've learned from the obstacles is that you can't stress yourself out over things you can't control. I've been late to my own events. I'm traveling from Texas to DC to an event. I'm 30 minutes late to my own event because of transportation getting from Texas. I should have traveled the day before. I traveled the day up. So it's just, things that you learn that first time. Me looking younger than I am is ageism. A lot of times, I've gone in buildings downtown and I'm stopped by security and they were thinking I'm in high school. And I'm having to tell them that I'm an adult and I have a meeting in this building, and I'm meeting so-and-so and stuff like that. So it's just, you have to not take it personal. I normally don't take it personal unless I know the person was personally trying to create some type of chaos from me being able to do something. But most times, like flights being delayed or your internet going out, those are just things you have to laugh at and and just say, it happened.
Yeah. Hey, anyone else want to share?
I can piggyback on you, Julian, just being single parent, working full time, virtual school at home, and just life in general, just juggling it all because it becomes so overwhelming sometimes. And then when you finally sit down, you're like, I know I need to post. I know I need to, I have something I need to do for me and for my business. But by the time you get ready to do it, you get the time to do it, you're exhausted. So just having to figure out how to juggle just life in general. Yeah.
I think for me, one of the biggest obstacles actually was writer's block. And it still happens to me every once in a while, where it's just like, I know I have something to say, but it's just not flowing right. And it's not coming to me like I want it to. And I might start something and be like, oh, this is good. And then, no, I don't know. So, so writer's block really is a thing. And, it's one of the things that I've struggled with. I've gotten better with it as time's gone on, but in the beginning, it was always a killer because I couldn't be consistent with my posts. Not to that perfection thing is real. Not to my standard, I couldn't keep up. But no one else, I guess, was paying attention. But for me, it was always like, gosh, it's been a week and I haven't, written anything. Like, how am I sustaining this? Is this sustainable? If I can't keep up, what is this? So it's just for me reframing what my boundaries and how I want it to be and being okay with that. being like, this week was rough at home and work, and I didn't have time. I just didn't have time. And that's the life of it. I might write about how I didn't have time, but getting to that point where I'm able to say that, it took a minute. But yeah, so between writer's block and even imposter syndrome, that's a whole thing too. Cause it's like, I can stand in this space, but then I'm like, are they gonna figure out that I really don't have it all figured out? Like, is it really the thing? So, there's a lot that has transpired in the last 2 years in terms of me and this blog. So, but it definitely is, it comes in stages. And I think, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not a bad thing. It just happens to be part of how I got to this part. So.
Again, me butting in, sorry. One thing I would say is I like to write out how my week should go. Does it always go that way? No, but it helps me kind of plan my days so I know what I need to accomplish. Like if I'm working on a project, that may help, because my nephews are in virtual school, and just seeing that, and just trying to understand. I used to be a teacher, so I'm like, I couldn't imagine being a teacher now. Like I would just tell everybody pass, no work this semester, everybody passes. And then as far as the writer's block, I've always taught bloggers to write in themes. So to create a blog series, whether you publish that or not, you'll have something to publish. So when you do have writer's block, then you'll already have content stored up that you can put out there. So that helps with the writer's block if you have a theme, and it could go 3-4 weeks or something like that, like once a week. Or if you want to do it the whole week, that's on you. I do weekly blog posts, but doing it that way, creating a series, it helps. That way, when you do have the writer's block, you'll still have something that you can publish, and then you'll have things to publish for the next couple of weeks while you work on something else.
That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Go ahead, Pastor.
I would say that probably the initially the biggest dilemma that I had was just really getting started, because it's like, you look at all the different avenues and different ways of and I'll tell you the truth, I know all of you on here will remember back in the day, and I remember after Facebook came along, and that was everybody was moving away from MySpace to go into Facebook. I remember when I got a Facebook account, and I got on Facebook, and one of the first things I did was start playing this game called Farmville, and it just was crazy because I started being like out away from the house and thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't harvest my strawberries, like it was like a real farm or something like that. So I got out of playing that. And so I determined, I said, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a Facebook account. And when all this other stuff started coming out, and Instagram and all that, I said, I am not doing all that stuff because I'm not having all those accounts. I'm going to stick with Facebook, and that's going to be it. But then, of course, as we started to see the rise and the growth along the lines of social media, and then seeing that there's an opportunity to actually be able to utilize that to communicate positive messages, negative stuff goes out on positive messages, and actually, doing ministry and stuff like that. There was a lady that Julie and I mutually know. I was speaking in Seattle, and she came to me, doing something a little bit more like on social media, that kind of stuff. And I thought about it for a little while, and I remember there was a time where I was getting ready to do it, and then I was like, and then I started looking into it, and I was like, man, you got blogs, and then you got Facebook, then you got Instagram, and it all seemed a little bit overwhelming because I was trying to figure out how to take it all in at the same time, and the hesitations of where do you get started, what's the best one to start with, and then I had to just come to grips with the reality that you just got to get started, like get started somewhere, and then you'll figure it out as you go along. You'll find your voice as you go along. You'll find out how everything kind of integrates. Some of the stuff you can actually integrate and you can actually do as we started to learn, take your stuff from the YouTube and it filters into your blog and all that kind of stuff like that. So I would say that was the main hesitation, just kind of learning how everything integrates and actually getting started. But we're past that hump now, so we're on the road.
That's good. It's good to know. Good info. Because I do want to say this, and I always share this because I teach web design and I build websites, but I always tell people when it comes to this, I know that you are in love with social media, but you don't own social media. So if you're going to advertise, if you're going to post stuff, all roads still lead to your website because that's the only thing you own. And we know that Facebook algorithm can change at any moment, at any time, and you're trying to locate stuff and move stuff around. So you don't own that, but you have your website. So I always encourage folks to please, whatever you're doing, whatever traffic you're running, run it from Instagram to your website, from LinkedIn to your website, from Instagram, Facebook to your website, to have your website be the main hub for everything, because you have that, and that's one thing you can control. So I do want to make that observation, to put that out there. And I also want to reiterate how we talked about niching, because again, it takes time to find your voice. It takes time to find your niche. Don't beat yourself up if you have not got there yet. It takes time, and sometimes you might have to pivot and change. Sometimes those things happen, but the thing is, just stay consistent with it. Find a rhythm that you can stick with. And I'm so glad Vernetta talked about doing a theme. And as pastors, preachers, we know that sometimes we have to do. That's why pastors do series. And just to give you a little bit of knowledge as to why they do series. They do series because it sometimes it get difficult to find a sermon to preach, a different sermon to preach every Sunday, a different Bible study to teach every Wednesday. So a theme or a series that you can kind of cut up and space out helps out for you to get through that month and get through those the 3-month gaps or 90-day gaps or however you want to do that. So themes were great. Thank you so much for letting us know that. We're about to wrap up here because I want to hold you too much longer. I do appreciate all of you being here in different respective places, and thank you for your information and your insight and your experience. Has been good tonight. I really appreciate it, and Lord knows I do. Last thing I want to ask you, and I'm going to let you go. Does anyone have any current or upcoming promotions that they would like to share? I do have all of you all's emails, social media contacts inside of the descriptions that we're using on this. So if anyone wants to get in contact with you, find your blog, support you in any way, all of your information is inside of that there. But I do want to ask you, if any of you have any promotions that you want to share right now that's now or upcoming, feel free to share that.
So I have 2 things coming up. The first thing is I'm doing a giveaway. Basically it's called the Moments Giveaway, based off the blog My Simple Moments. And so I've asked 5 lovely ladies who own small businesses to contribute towards a basket to give away for a mom. The idea is that the holidays are coming. We're already busy and stretched. And before we give all of this energy towards making the holiday season what we do and how we make it, to actually spend some time celebrating ourselves and loving on ourselves just for a little bit. So I'm doing the giveaway, and it'll be on Instagram. And I'll have different posts to help promote that, where you can get to know the businesses and the kind of gifts they're putting in the basket, and then enter the contest to win. So that's the first thing, and that is for all next week. The winner will be announced next Friday. So I'm really excited about doing that and working with these ladies. And then the second thing, of course, is My Elf Fin on a Budget. The kit and ebook is now live on my website. So if you love to have a little Christmas magic, you definitely can purchase that. So it is up and available. The ebook basically helps you come up with some ideas, and it has pictures, a list of supplies you might need, things of that nature. So even if you don't want the kit, but you want a little help, the ebook is the way to go. As well as the kit, like I said, has 15 days of Christmas magic inside a box. So those are the two things I got going on, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm really excited about what the future holds.
Awesome. Go ahead, Aisha.
I don't currently have any promotions going on, but Erika, I would definitely like to donate to the cause.
Oh, yes, come on, sis. Yes, that's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, we're gonna definitely wrap this up. Erika, make sure you give. Well, I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna have all of y'all kind of give me a closing statement of something that you want to share, and also with that, please give your website and whatever other social media that you want to give out, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, however. Please let us know that. I guess I'll start with you, Aisha, and then we'll wrap around Aisha. Then we'll go to Vernetta after that. So give us, your closing thoughts and your information on how to get in contact with you.
Oh, well, thank you again. I have definitely enjoyed everyone on the panel this evening. It has been very informative. I am taking a lot of things away from this session. So again, thank you. My personal blog is New Me, Monet. That's NU_ME_Monet. That's the my Instagram personal blog. And then also I have Instagram for the Monet collection as well. It's all linked in together. So come see me.
All right. Thanks so much, Aisha.
I would say to anyone who is interested in blogging, ask yourself why. Because a lot of times people tell other people to start a blog, and that person really doesn't want a blog. They don't have time for a blog, and they're not going to be dedicated to the blog. Because if you want to make money from this, you can. We only had an hour, so there was just no way we can go into detail about it. But everything we shared tonight were things that are elements that help you have a solid blog so that you can make money. But I would definitely say, ask yourself, why do you want to start a blog? Because at the end of the day, if you put something out and people like it and then you get tired of it, it breaks the heart of the readers. And it can also frustrate you because now people will ask more of it. And it's something that you just didn't have the heart to do. So before you jump into it, ask yourself, why do you want to blog? And my blog is VernettaRFreeney.com.
Go ahead, Erika.
I think the thing that I want to leave with is a mantra that I keep posted up that I look at pretty often, which is my success depends on my sacrifice. And if I can just remember that sometimes it just takes a little bit more effort, just a little bit more effort. How can I be 10% better than I was yesterday? Not perfect, not, straight in line, not all colored in, but just 10% better than I was the day before. And that's the thing that I strive for in every area, is how can I do this a little bit better? Like I mentioned, my blog is My Simple Moments, and it's on my website, ericamdjones.com. Instagram is Erika Myshawn, Myshawn, and that's where I hang out, is in Instagram. So I look forward to seeing and meeting you all.
Go ahead, Pastor.
Well, I'd just like to say that there's a lot of takeaways for me as well from this particular session. Excited about the journey that's up ahead. Just looking forward to having the opportunity to minister in a different way, in a different medium, on a different platform. and be able to reach these fathers and reach these men to encourage them in the responsibility of fatherhood. There's a lot of things that I've gathered from what's been shared here. So I'm excited about the opportunity to dig into the blog and to, again, integrate these things and just develop what we have so far and looking and moving to a very positive direction. The feedback has been tremendous. And I look forward to connecting with some of you outside of this particular outlet so that I can learn some more, gain some more knowledge and information, and hopefully connect with those fathers that are also doing that blogging. I'm not in the Houston area, but pretty close to the Houston area. And again, you can find us on facebook.com/AbbaCare, or you can go on to the YouTube and look us up, AbbaCare. We have some content that's been posted on there, just some encouragement straight into the fathers, and we have a wonderful set of conversations that are going to be coming up that's a part of this present, not perfect series of conversations. We're going to be having conversations with my children, and we're going to be talking about how the presence of a father in the life of the child helps them to build and have their confidence as they move throughout their lives. So we're looking forward to that, and I'll look forward to sharing with you guys, and let's go for it.
All right. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate all of you all being on here tonight. Thanks for sharing. I'm getting good reviews here about how great the panel is, and your lovely experiences and things of that nature. So again, thank y'all so much. I really appreciate you taking out the time for this. And I want to let everyone know, those who are watching this, is going to ask Pastor Julian. Of course, we're going to be bringing you more content like this, sharing with you what you can do as a believer. If you want to move from employee to entrepreneur, we're going to give you some tips and tools on how to make that journey happen for you. Just as long as you know that when you do this entrepreneurship journey, you're doing it as a ministry, as unto the Lord. So we're giving God the glory as we do this, and giving him the honor as we do this. So be blessed. As always, be empowered. Until the next video, we love you. Be blessed.